we're going to have a look at just a really nice introduction to the takedowns and the what we call knee wrestling. That would go towards the first part, which is the side control recovery as well. We want to be looking at what we call like the more of the baby guard style guard recovery instead of what we call framing. I'll explain the difference as we go through from here. Okay, so Ian, onto your knees. So one of the things that happens a lot of time is we start the jiu-jitsu and it's quite awkward to know what to do from here against someone that's done some training before or has judo, or yet you haven't competed, it's that you burn a lot of energy from here. So what we want to do is we want to get, real simple is we want to get a push mechanic, and on the same side I'm pushing, i.e. if I'm using my right hand to push to my left hand side, I want to take the frame out on my left hand side. So there's not much point pushing my partner if he can post up onto his right hand. Where if I get the sleeve control and push, I'm able to tap my partner down. So it's a really basic concept on this is that I want to get the control on one side, on the collar, and I'm going to want to get the sleeve on the other side. The first part is this, it's really important is that I'm going to go pushing and pulling, but I'm kind of, we call it turn your wheel of bus, so I'm going high and low. We're not going back and forth. So from here, my right hand goes high, my left hand goes low, and that enables me to put my partner back on the ground. Secondly is I have the arm control. So if I do want to go to near right in the arm bar, it's better. If I do want to switch side keys or guitar or side control, the frame system's up, the frame system's not below me, which means that even if he does frame, right from here, it's very easy for me to get the head control to stop him from moving. So again, so ends up to his knees. So he's going to get right hand, it's thumb grip on the inside, right? And control from here. So what I'm doing is I'm going to push my right hand up towards the ceiling, my left hand circles underneath my partner from here, and just to start the movement from here, we're going to drop up to our knee on belly, come up to our knee on belly with this collar control and the sleeve control. Okay, one more time, jump up. And over here a little bit easy. So the control, notice I'm not stepping up on my legs yet, I'm not stepping up. So this is just done from my knees. So right hand circles behind his head, left hand circles underneath from here, boom, tap my part down, knee goes on the stomach, make sure you come up and get the really good control from here. Okay guys, 1, 2, 3. And up onto your knees. You're good. Okay, so it's a, look, pros and cons, it's not the end of the world if you do it this way or the other way, but understand what the possibilities are, the options are. You can grip same side and same side. There's nothing on that. What I've found though is you have back exposure, so that if I try to throw my partner and that they've got back exposure, it's not the end of the world. Where if I'm here, if Ian does go to my back, I can stiff arm to keep him away. The downfall about it is that this does give my partner the opportunity to grab my arm, drag my arm and take my arm back. Right, so there's pros and cons both ways. But for me, what I found is if I have this sleeve control and Ian tries to grab my right arm with his right arm, I can at least keep it away. And anytime my partner goes, I'll grip break by using his right hand, anytime the hand comes in, it's almost giving me the option to throw him because he's taken his only post out. So it's not right or wrong, but I find that the gripping on the opposite side and the sleeve is better for me. And let's just say that I try to move my partner, but he's brown belt in judo, blind, 60 years old. It's very hard to move. So I'm trying to throw my partner, but got incredible base. I know that right now, because he's consolidated his base by spreading his knees, it's hard for him to move. So that's when I can now step up and throw. So if I'm finding it harder to move my partner because I've consolidated their base, put their base wider, it's easy for me to step up because it's harder for them to move. Does that kind of make sense? Where if they got a narrower base and I step up, he can now bring his right leg behind me and he can throw me. But if his base is wide, by the time I'm here, if he steps up on his right leg, the base is too far, so it's hard for him to move. Okay, so what we're going to do now, when I teach the kids, we call this a head wobble. So right now it's kind of like he's quite stiff and hard to move, where like a head wobble, it changes the rhythm a little bit. So it's just that little bit of a grip break. If I was standing on my feet, I wouldn't do this in front. I'd kind of be moving my feet a little bit as well. But because we're on our knees, from here, so it's just simple. It's like an earthquake kind of thing. So I'm going head wobble, he's off balance, boom. Now, if I go head wobble, and he drops his base nice and wide, I can then step up to do my throw as well. Does everyone understand that? So partner, you can kind of react how you want to. You can either drop your base down so that it's hard for them to move you, person doing the throw, step behind them, or head wobble, you break the cadence or their base and do the throw. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So we're here, Loki's here. So head wobble, he's on his knees, but he's standing just to make it even. Okay, so he goes behind me, throws me, really important to keep my arm. So the reason we have the arm is, the first two reasons is, number one is, if I try and turn towards my partner to try and rescue my guard, Loki simply keeps my arm elevated. So this makes it really hard to turn back in towards my partner. If I try and roll away, it's an arm bar, because my shoulder, my elbow will get exposed. You can gift wrap or arm wrap, you can step overhead, you can arm bar. The last thing about it as well is that you're on the knee on belly position, so you're going to get the points for it. So if you're doing it from stand, you get your 2 points for your takedown, 2 points for knee on belly. But for the point here, so we're going to have a look at the couple of scenarios. Is we're going to get to this position, we stall for a couple of seconds. The person underneath, right, is we've got 3 options, and I'll explain. Number one is that I try and turn towards my partner. Loki's going to lift to make sure my elbow is up nice and tight. So that means that it's very hard for me to turn and rescue guard. Anytime that I try and turn away, it's gift wrap or armbar, right? So I can step over my head. We try and keep the knee right, step over the head, sit back, armbar. The last one, and this is one that kind of is a more common reaction, is Loki's back up onto the knee on belly with the armbar position, is they're going to rescue the arm. Because I know they're going to get armbar, so they're going to rescue the arm. We want to make sure that our right arm's deep underneath, and we want to hold our collar. So your right hand goes up to your collar. Your right hand. Okay. So what we want to do from here is give what we call multiple attacks. Your left thumb goes as deep in the collar as you can and start to drive your elbow into my throat. So from here, you're basically going to choke me, so I have to let go of the choke, so you have the armbar. If I don't let go of it, the downfall of that is I can turn. So you're going to put your left knee behind my head, so underneath my head. Yep, right next to my head. Right, nice. So now as I try and turn, it's wedged between the knee, so I can't continue turning, and the choke's on pretty hard as well. So this is quite awkward for me. Next to do. Okay. So we start from the position from the on the knees first thing. Make sure you have the arm control and takedown. So the 3 options that we're going to play, and you guys can improvise on this a little bit as well. So option 1, we'll try and rescue our guard, which means that you pick up the arm. Number 2, I try and turn away, armbar. Number 3 is I try and rescue my arm, which means that we basically go to the forearm choke. The whole key factor is keep this arm here. There's one other option that I haven't explained. If Loki goes back to the knee on belly, is any time that he's doing the knee on belly and I'm trying to push the knee away, this hand drops into the window, steps over my head, spins, drops and hits the armbar on the far side. So that's if they're going to push the knee off the belly. You have the option to go, we've got to put your hand through the window, show one of your muscles, and then, but that's the third option. So option number 1 is try and turn towards them. Option number 2, try and turn away. Option number 3, hold the hands together, and that'll be kind of the start of the escapes for us and the attacks. Okay, yes, babe?
When someone's doing the knee ride, do you recommend the knee to go hip, belly button, or rib cage, or like where would the most ideal knee position?
Easy, good question. Like you jump up to knee ride. Okay, it's the same as most things in life. Okay, the knee ride on my hips is a control. What that means is it's harder for me to bring my knees through, but you lose the arm on the armbar because you're further away from the armpit. The knee ride in the middle zone, which is on the ribs, is kind of dealing with both. I want to put your knee through the ribs to make them react. So that'll give the reaction where you can base push side arm bar or whatever like that. The knee underneath the armpit is obviously the arm bar. So if you've just passed the guard and you want to control them, so the devil is, if you go straight to this arm bar, so if you take me down and go straight to here, you do lose the option to push away. So then I can sit up.
Can
You might be able
lose
to-
the,
sorry?
sorry, do you lose the points of the takedown if you?
That's right, you lose everything
Yeah.
because you didn't consolidate anything. Number two is, this is kind of my favourite. So he's playing mid-zone, right? And he's got my arm. So mid-zone is not on my hip, it's not on my armpit, it's on my ribs. So you're going to cause more damage here by driving your knee through. Swap your hands the other way, buddy. Okay. You can cause more damage by knee riding on ribs. The thing that I like about this is that I can risk my arm, which is a really good thing. But that gives Loki the ability to go straight to mount. And the second thing about it is he can go underneath his arm. So as I start to pull my elbow to the ground, this arm's going to go underneath this elbow. Scoop it up and you go to mount, you get a really nice high mount. So for me, the middle zone's the best one. That, you know, like I get what I want, which is mount. And the last one, the knee one, I'm going to explain to, so knee on to my hips. Knee on my hips, this is the most common response you're going to get. Because I know you can't arm them because the elbow's too far. Does that kind of make sense? So back up again, mate. So anytime that someone does what we'll call like a low knee ride on me, I should be hitting and pushing. So I have the underhook escape. But from here, kick it, yes you can. And you can do the ghost escape from there. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Very nice. It's a lot of time when we're on the knee ride and our arms are compromised. Right. And whether she's got the collar control or not is a lot of time from here, we focus on the arm and we focus on what's taken from us instead of kind of looking at the difference about what can I move. Does that kind of make sense? So think about this way. One of the things I want to do is I want to create a window of opportunity to drop my partner. Now, I know her leg's going to come overhead, so I understand that that's kind of where she's going. So what I want to do is I want to lock my elbow just onto her hip or down as far as I can. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of crunching this. The second thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to walk my legs away and put my back on the ground. But that means that my shoulder and my elbow should be as close to the ground as possible, where right now they're elevated. So I start to walk, my back on the ground. So it's a better position than what I was in. The part that I see people now start trying to turn out, which is like the hitchhiker, which gives the exposure once again onto the elbow. So what I'm going to try and do for me is think about this first. I try to keep my legs long, come underneath my partner. So if I'm here, my elbow's still kind of caught. But if I keep my legs long, I can kind of use it as a wedge to push my partner the wrong way, so it's harder for her to bring the leg over my head. Okay, and again. So the biggest thing that I see is people kind of go, I'm in an arm bar, I'll stop the arm bar, but you're kind of almost delaying that and you're not actually getting out of it. It becomes a fight. Or if I kind of go like this, I know that Emma wants to elevate my arm to the other, but if I put my weight down on the ground, it makes it really hard for her to the arm bar. Number two says, I turn, so I've got the option to bring my leg under, and I'll pull my arm. I can now start to go free arm, start to sit up, to escape. So it's not a really complicated move, but just one of the ones that I don't see people, everyone's kind of like, because the more that you hold your arm, the more that you're giving them the elbow to the arm bar, the more that I pull this down, the harder it is for them to get the position. So what I'm kind of doing is I'm kind of going, elbow goes down, walk, bring my leg under, move my head away, and I'm in the position to start to do my escape. Ian, come hither. So you're going to be up on knee right on me, so your knee, step up, step up, step up. Okay, so from here, what's that? Okay, so once again, Ian's got a really good grip on my arm, he's going to arm bar me. Anytime that my elbow goes away from my body, it's better for him, worse for me. So what I'm going to do is two motions. Is number one, I drop my elbow down to his hip as hard as I can. Number two, walk. Now as the walk, it's going to take. Knees go in, rescue. And now I'm in a position where I can start to counter-attack or you know what I mean, so counter-attack. Just move back a fraction here from the So, knee right, knee on belly, you're good. armbar, and make sure you've got a really good, like you really want to armbar me. How's that, Ian? You really want to armbar me? Okay, so create a space to drop me into. Elbow to the ground.
See, that's no good.
Turn my legs. Turn. So I'm in a far better position. Okay, come here.
There's a strangle right in there.
Not going to get away with anything on this kid's in here, right? An armbar. Yeah. So just think about it this way. Once again, is anytime that I'm pulling, my elbow is exposed. Anytime I'm turning, my elbow is exposed. So what I want to do instead is this is like walk your leg this way, drop your elbow down. Bring your leg back up, start walk. One more time.
One question.
Yes, sir.
Why aren't you pushing onto the thigh rather than trying to suck it in right at the start as you go into the back?
While my
You keep it really tight when you're up and pushing it into
Yep,
the thigh
yep, okay.
rather than starting to suck it in right at the start.
okay, two answers
Yep.
to one question. Number one is this: if Loki's on near right,
Yep.
and I'll talk to you from my point of view.
Yep.
Anytime if I'm Loki and Loki's Steve, so anytime I suck my arm in from the beginning, what's stopping him from upgrading to near right, cross collar choke?
Yep.
Yeah, number two, come back. Arm back. You can't upgrade on me because your hips are going the wrong way. So even if I rescue, there's no chance of you upgrading that position. Secondly, for me, is this: once I've turned, by default my elbow is down and my frame system comes in. So even if Loki does go, I'll jump back up onto the knee right, I have the ability to start to rescue, to control my partner. So the downfall, one of the things about it is when people rescue the arm, they pull the arm in, but they don't deny the upgrade to mount or whatever, they'll just stop the arm bar. Where with this mechanic, because I'm on the far hip, you can't use that to come over my body because it's pushing down to the ground. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Thank you, that's a good question. See, nice. It's going to be on our knees. Okay, it's cool. So get our grips. Okay. Nice start. So Emma's going to pull my hand under, to my hand over, boom. Knee right, goes to knee right, gets my arm. Right. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I walk away, drive my elbow down, turn, rescue. So whether she falls over or not, gives me the ability to stop the knee right and to go to the position. Most people, if they keep hold of their collar, this is armbar territory for me. If they let go of the collar, then this is my option to start to come up as well. Okay, and again, just a nice little flow drill. So from our knees, grip. So shake, shake, boom, head wobble, turns wheel of the bus, boom. Knee right. First thing I should be doing is attacking her hip anyway. Right, so a little bit of a turn, attack the hip, boom, turn, start to come up. So really, and then I can go to knee right to my partner, set the pace up, can make it like a little sort of flow drill from here. Okay, 1, 2, 3. One of the things on the Kimura is there's two things. There's number one is you've done a multitude of things wrong to get to here. So, you know, like it's that. So there's no quick, easy, I'll get out of this by doing that. Like everyone's, you know, I'll do that big bridge or that big explosion, you know. I work the same kind of concept. The downfall about it is that Steve's right arm's blocking my elbow this time. So it's very hard for me to get my elbow to the ground. So what I need to, by default, is I need to, instead of trying to get my elbow to the ground, I need to try and get my hips and my back on the ground. So, keep the pressure on the elbow this way. Try and get your elbow to the ground. He still has control, but it's not a very good control. And now I need to redefine. So the part that people do is they get here and they go, I'll get out, and they almost give Steve back the Kimura again. Where you want to kind of go to this side of the head and take it to this side. So I'll make his grip, well, I guess, a liability and not an asset. Bearing in mind, Steve's not really putting a lot of weight and effort into this. So the concept on this one is the more that he's applying pressure, the more that he's holding, the better it actually is for me to start to move, because it's hard for him because the knee's off the belly. So he's more concentrating on this area, which means that my elbow is freer to move. But once he's outside the elbow top, this is hard, man. Like, I'm not gonna lie, this is a really shit position to be in. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, this is a really mushroom shiitake position to be in. Right. So the same deal again is, this is the issue because this is a control, this is a submission. So the more that I can kind of create this space here, the more that I can kind of leave something going, you know what I mean? Like, so we're in a position where at least I'm moving. So Steve tried to do the Kimura. It's quite hard to do the Kimura from here because of belly down. I just to actually, you know, start to grip back and move. It's not the best thing, but he's committed so far over the top of me, that's really hard. And that would be a worst case scenario. But bearing in mind, I should have dealt with that 3 steps down the line. You know what I mean? Kind of like the quicksand analogy. Who's heard the quicksand analogy? You know, put your foot in the quicksand. Oh, this feels like quicksand. Go a little bit further just to see, get up to your knees. Yep, this is definitely quicksand. I can feel it. Let's see, like go up to your waist, man. 100% quicksand. There's no doubt about it. You're fucked. So, excuse my friend. You can't get out of the quicksand. So it's kind of like, I think he's going for an armbar. Oh yeah, he's definitely going for an armbar. Yep, that's 100% sure that's an armbar. Dude, you should have like dealt with the, I think it's an armbar, not the, you know, so on Steve's defense, like if anytime you're doing the Kimura, and right now, I can't let Steve elevate my elbow away from my body. Once he puts a work system in here, I can't roll backwards. I have to kind of do the kamikaze roll to go. So, you know, even if I'm going here and he raises it, like, man, the pressure on my shoulder, my wrist, I have to go this way. So it'd be more that once we're here, I kind of go, okay, now I'm happy to play the game. So just acknowledging where you are. Okay, guys, line up, 1, 2, 3.